So you're just sitting around on your couch, preparing yourself for the Super Bowl this weekend. But you suddenly get an itch for the action. You want to go to the game. Money be damned, you're taking a trip to Miami. But what about those tickets? Aren't they sold out? Not on the resale market. On SeatGeek, where they aggregate all tickets to help you get the best value, the market is thriving. You're going to be spending a pretty penny for these tickets, but the app sorts all available seats from red to green on a 1 to 100 scale. You can get a view from where you'll be sitting. You can be scanned into the game from the app. It won't help much, but if you choose to do this, use the code word TREE in the link below to save $20 off your first purchase. This Super Bowl should be a good game to watch. Get there with SeatGeek. There are also some football teams to go over. Took me long enough. A wise man once said the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. The Miami Dolphins had one of the most fantastically sculpted tanks in sports history. They were well on their way to legendary suckitude. Everyone worth a damn was traded for futures. The prize of the first overall pick was theirs. But then that pesky desire to win football games just had to sneak into their minds. I knew that bringing in Fitzception was going to ruin their long-term goals, and it did. They did the worst thing a tanking team could do. They found form. They won games. Tank destroyed. In the fantastic explosion, the Dolphins would significantly change the course of the AFC, but at what cost to them? Joe Burrow isn't coming to save their franchise. Pray for Tua? I hope it works out. I know you Jets fans loathe this term, but it applies here. Your season was a pristine butt fumble. It started after blowing that lead to Buffalo in Week 1 and only got worse from there. CJ Mosley left in the second half of that game. He would not return to the field this season. Sam Darnold one-upped kissing titties by contracting mono. His backup was assassinated by Myles Garrett the next week. Multiple players filing grievances due to how incompetently their injuries were handled by team staff. Kelechi Osemele needs vengeance. And worst of all, the team ran on an easy schedule to finish the year 6-2. This will indicate that nothing will change and the severe issues in coaching and team depth will persist. Adam Gase is a fucking asswipe. He is holding this team back from their potential. I can see the flashes of brilliance, but they are often overruled by this offensive genius. Le'Veon, get a fireproof suit, they're about to burn you at the stake. No sugarcoating it, Bungles. You were fucking terrible. An insult to whatever you consider to be a professional football team. Don't be surprised this awful result was years in the making. It was merely amplified by AJ Green never playing a down this year and others dropping like flies. It's the end of an era of failure. But look at the seeds you've sown. You've won the Tank Bowl by falling into a minefield. A Joe Burrow emerges from your ashes like a phoenix. All I can hope is that you don't fuck him up like the many other top prospects before. Knowing this team's luck, they will get the Burrow that was allegedly carried by an outstanding supporting cast, and he will be nothing. They merely swapped places with Cleveland on the football totem pole. This is how it always goes for them. Behold, in its most pristine form possible, the brownsiest browning to have ever been browned. First game of the season, hope is endlessly abound. They get destroyed on their home soil by the Titans, our Marcus Mariota-led Titans. The Rams are within striking distance, so the answer is to run a drop play on a 4th and 9. Throw endless passing plays in the red zone when you have all 3 timeouts? What the fuck are you doing, Freddy? You beat the shit out of the Ravens. Things would be looking up, but the 49ers have their own narratives to crush. Just like you under their insufferable grip. Would you look at that? Freddie Kitchens bumbles his way into another preventable loss for the Browns. Maybe next time he'll figure out a goal line offense and team discipline. That's before you self-destruct in front of New England. You are embarrassed yet again by a Broncos QB making his first career start. No, not that one. Brandon Allen. Your safety celebrates this by calling people crackers and getting cut from the team. A 2-game winning streak against bad offenses. Hope is returning to Cleveland. Perhaps Myles Garrett thought Mason Rudolph was a piñata. That will cost him the season. A massive L even when they win. Such is the Browns' way. Pittsburgh eventually gets their revenge against them. With their backups. And a duck. Freddie Kitchens merely fans the flames of war like an idiot. Can you people just die already? You do that on cue against Arizona. At least you can meet one expectation. Everything falls to shit. Freddie Kitchens is an awful coach and the season is lost. OBJ wants out and Baker is massively regressed. Jimmy Haslam is tired of not having power and wants it again because he's a worthless fuck. Blow it up! Fire everyone! For the 4th time in his tenure. Hire the head coach they want in Kevin Stefanski and an old scout before he changes his mind in a few seasons. The NFL needs to strip Haslam of this franchise. 3 years ago. I'll admit I have no idea how to treat this season for the Steelers. For everything that happened, all the drama of the offseason, Big Ben facing Father Time for once, trading the first-round pick for a defender, this should have been a terrible season. This is when the Steelers rediscover the art of amazing defense. Too bad all that cost them was any sense of a competent offense. A painful collapse in the final 3 games had them miss the playoffs. Turns out shedding cancerous talent has a price in the end after all. They shouldn't have been anywhere near this point, but that's what happens when you play bad teams or ones that self-destruct. And you know the worst part? They're going to trot out Big Ben next year with his puppet and pretend he's the savior to this team's woes. I'm sorry if I don't consider a 38-year-old man coming off of a major elbow surgery to be a legitimate option. I've seen this movie one too many times to know it usually doesn't end well. I just hope the Steelers find this out before it's too late. The ultimate what-if scenario. What would have happened this season if the previous regime didn't totally fuck up Andrew Luck beyond all repair? Perhaps it could have made the Colts into so much more than what they were. They were a team that had potential. They had the pieces to go far, but they always lacked that extra gear that could have made them great. I wonder what could have helped them to get to that point. Certainly not all of the injuries in the second half of the season. The downward spiral to the Texans and Titans would merely seal your fate. Your year was Adam Vinatieri, someone you expect to be automatic only to fall like the sands of time itself. All the good coaching and shrewd planning only leads to relentless self-destruction. This was karma, nothing else. I only hope Luck is enjoying the retired life. He deserves it. This organization does not care about winning. They only worry about the appearance of stability. The decisions made over the past year and change have merely confirmed this. Why else would a team throw $50 million guaranteed at a situational quarterback in Nick Foles? Am I supposed to be shocked that he's revealed to be a situational quarterback? An awful contract we all saw coming. Someone call the fucking press! You can also tell them that the organization's draconian policies alienated nearly every single quality player from the team. Jalen Ramsey's injury, Yannick Ngakwe's holdout. Now we know why Telvin Smith fucked off over the summer. But to Shahid Khan, all they had to do was chop off the head of the fossilized Father Coughlin. The body itself is fine running around spewing blood. Even though Marone and Caldwell should have been fired as well, they want to pretend everything is fine instead of looking deep within. Jacksonville had one good year and suddenly it's gone to their heads. They have sentenced themselves to death, and nothing will change that. Welcome back to being the forgotten lol cow. You might have a quarterback. That is the only good thing I can say about the Broncos season. Too bad it couldn't solve the patchwork that was the rest of the team. You can say it's bad luck, you can say it's a defensive implosion on the final drive, but when you trust your offense to Joe Flacco, there is only mediocrity at best. But once again, you may have a legitimate QB in the future. He's also tall and white, so it makes John Elway moist when he wakes up every morning. Maybe we can see Bradley Chubb return to form after his injury, leading the Broncos to the pastures of an impeccable 8-8 season. No, nothing's changing because that would involve self-reflection. John Elway only wants his next franchise savior. This is your upside. Deal with it. Leave it to the Chargers to waste gobs of talent when they shouldn't come anywhere close to it. Even though they play 16 road games a season, I feel they have the talent to make the playoffs. Not only was it an embarrassment at the soccer stadium, it was on the field as well. Every goddamn game played out the same. Seriously, all of them. They'd look flat in the first half, allow their opposition to gain a double-digit lead, yet they tantalize the few fans they have left. They would come back in the second half with talent and skill. The Chargers would do everything to win in the end, yet find amazing ways to blow games. Be it by imploding against the Lions to imitating 1 yard short against the Titans 3 consecutive times, there was never a dull moment. Phillip Rivers will force this narrative like he does his passes. Behold, Chargers, yet another wasted season in a legacy of miscues.
Comrade soldier, you're done.
If there's anything good, at least you didn't suck as horribly as I thought you may have before the season. Even then, the flaws of a young, hungry team that lacks a true game changer were laid bare as the games went on. Despite the individual efforts of guys like Hunter Renfrow and Josh Jacobs, they can't mask the fact that the Raiders don't have a defense. Their secondary is Swiss cheese, full of holes leading to easy cuts and a pungent aroma. Injuries would merely reinforce their limitations as a franchise at this point in time. This team just wasn't ready, but they might be something? Possibly? It would have been nice if you didn't give your fans the hypothetical double bird at the final home game in Oakland. Enjoy being yet another outdated entertainment act in Vegas. You're already embracing the role quite well. Tonight on Dallas, a team full of incredible talents and outstanding individual achievements accomplishes their most impressive goal yet. A 4,000-yard passer, 2 1,000-yard receivers, a 1,000-yard rusher. What do these ingredients make? Hell if I could tell, because the clapper is so set in his ways they'll piss away every chance to make something. Enjoy the NFL's cocktease as they'll tantalize you with glories only to crumble against teams like the Jets. That's a good opponent, right? The Vikings and Bills made the postseason, doesn't matter if we shit the bed against them at home. And how about that game at the Link? What a send-off, don't you think? All this finally leads Jason Garrett to be told to move out of the office 5 years after rent was due. Now Jerry Boy desires the second coming of tuna, Mike McCarthy. We could only hope he regained his leg strength after being carried by Aaron Rodgers for a decade, or perhaps Dak can take that mantle. How will the Cowboys fuck it all up next year? Find out next season on Dallas! No, Giants, don't pretend things are getting better for your team. Your head has gone so far up your own asshole that you could accurately give yourself a colonoscopy. If you were to assess the damage, the polyps are pretty bad, but apparently that's tradition for your franchise. Why else would you keep Dave Gettleman around when he's made questionable move after questionable move? Pat Shurmur was a deer in headlights most of the time, so why wasn't Gettleman hit by a car as well? Is it because Daniel Jones wasn't completely awful? Maybe the Mara family fumbled the pink slip like Jones always did. So Eli gets his final moment in the sun and has retired to live a life of immortality for 2 games he played. Good work. He'll probably be in Canton, but that does nothing for the awful defense or worn-down Saquon Barkley. Use whatever's left of Nate Solder to fuel him for next year. I don't think anyone will mind, especially for following trends and trying to skin the Patriots alive for your next head coach. Will this guy be good? Who knows, but former New England assistants have almost never succeeded at this position. Perhaps the G-men will learn this the hard way. Hail to the Redskins, an organization that only wishes to dig deeper when everyone says they've hit a brand new low. In Washington's great leap forward, it merely mimicked China's. Endless parading of progress while nothing improves and all life dies before it. Trent Williams revealed that the organization is incompetent, which is like telling me that I should drink water to stay hydrated. The Redskins fucked them over regardless. They talked about a damn good culture when the culture is so ass backwards you could fuck yourself with it. You're already doing it to Dwayne Haskins. Just throw your puppet into the fire, everything's fine. Everyone can celebrate because the Wicked Witch of the East is finally dead, but forget that Dan Snyder is still here. And he will continue to ruin everything. His next trick is to bring about the second coming of Mike Shanahan. Ron Rivera with complete control of football operations. Snyder stuck for so long with garbage that he panicked in the opposite direction. Now where's the next RG3 for him to ruin? I had this team going to the Super Bowl this year. That's how confident I was in the Bears. That defense with an offense that wasn't total shit should usually be a recipe for success. Little did I know that said offense would not only regress, but fall all the way back to kindergarten. Matt Nagy has been broken by the double doink. His quest to find a kicker has ruined him to where it has consumed everything. His offense, his defense, his energy, his ability to generate any sort of running game, all diverted towards someone who won't hit the uprights. Someone should tell him that Mitch Trubisky isn't the answer to his prayers. Over these past few years, he struck me as a quality backup. Here's the problem. You don't trade mid-round selections to move up one position to draft a backup. A perfect excuse for management to triple down on their fantastic fuck-up that was awful to begin with. Nothing is changing here until the McCaskies are gone. Chicago knows this, we all do. It's merely a matter of waiting. But at least you have a kicker now, right? Another standard year in Detroit, where the fanbase pretends they have a shot in hell of being relevant only to be snatched away by that cruel bastard known as reality. 2 teams would implode, giving the Lions a sniff of delusions that have tempted them for years. Forget that they did the same against the Cardinals in Week 1, just imagine if the officials didn't gift the Packers a win. The Lions wouldn't have collapsed yet again and lose 12 of 13. It's the injuries, we swear to God. If we had a healthy Matt Stafford, the Lions would have gotten to 8 wins, no sweat. The issue is if trying to clone the Patriots is to work, I should be seeing some signs of progress. With how god-awful Detroit's defense was this year, it's all the proof I need that Matt Patricia and Patriots Light isn't the answer. Shockingly, the Lions are staying stubbornly loyal to maintaining the narrative and are doing nothing to fix it, even with Stafford trade rumors spreading like wildfire. All I'm going to say is this. Have you ever noticed how the Patriots defense has gotten significantly better since Patricia left? I don't think that's a coincidence. Maybe the Lions will do the same thing once they gain common sense. This is the worst case scenario. Let's get that out of the way first and foremost. That much talent shouldn't go anywhere near 1-7 to start out a season. No way in hell. The year was already lost under a guise of soft zone defense and a running game that couldn't get anything going until it was too late. But lo and behold, the Falcons give Arthur Blank an excuse to pretend that everything is fine as they not only fuck up a shot at a good draft pick, they delude themselves into thinking they're still competitive. Everyone gets to stay. It's just like Home Depot, ain't it, Arthur? The fiscal year was a disaster that fell way short of expectations. The franchise is potentially in cap hell and attendance is ghastly low, but none of that's important. It's about keeping employees happy. Fuck results. This organization needs to blow it up. I don't say that lightly. I would mention 28-3 as evidence, but I don't need to. It's quite obvious that the Falcons haven't come anywhere close to getting over it. Enjoy the same results next year. The end. End of an era. It's always a sad time for a team in the sports world. This is usually soothed a little bit with a championship or two, but what about those that came up short? The Panthers are in this boat. This was a crucial year for the franchise, and they shat the bed in the end. Kyle Allen tried for a bit, but then his flaws came to the forefront and destroyed the offense. Christian McCaffrey's back is only so strong. Even he couldn't carry this team to respect. Now the time has come for a massive upheaval. David Tepper is not pleased with mediocrity, and the guillotine is ready. Riverboat Ron is gone. Cam may be gone. Greg Olsen may be gone. And now add a surprise name to this list. Kuechly. His body is given out just like the defense did, and he has retired from football. Perhaps he can take comfort that the Panthers during his time will be known for this. And this as well. This is what happens when you can't get it done. The failures are emphasized. Perhaps Matt Rule will change that. He did great work for a toxic program in Baylor. Hopefully he can do it here, but holy shit, that contract. The Dolphins have been working overtime this season. Such is the life you lead when your quarterback fancies himself far more of a pastry chef than a man who leads his team to victory. Have you gotten the message that Jameis Winston isn't going to change his turnover-happy ways? He's been running pick-six specials all season long, and it cost you a chance at shocking the world. It's what I've said before. He's the Costco quarterback. Everything is in bulk with him. This includes those tasty turnovers. If the Buccaneers are smart, they will not only fix this, they will also address that god-awful defense that exacerbated a good deal of their problems. The D should thank famous Jameis that his notoriety helped to deflect a lot of criticism from their performance this season. It's so ironic that Tampa's season ended with a pick-6. Here's the kicker. They still don't have one. Matt Gay could call everyone homophobic and the fan base would still be justified. If Jameis is still here in September, you'll have learned nothing. This season was what last year would have been if you had a quarterback that could run. Kyler Murray played the Josh Rosen role well because he evaded defenders for his goddamn life. He didn't look too bad doing so. It at least gave the Cardinals a fighting chance in most of the games they played. Larry Fitzgerald even made another deal with the devil to play another season in the desert, so there's a good sign. The offense at least showed potential despite the bad offensive line. But here's the true test. The Cardinals need a defense. They need one in the worst possible way. What got Cliff Kingsbury fired at Texas Tech? Being unable to assemble a defense. I'm sorry, but Vance Joseph doesn't instill confidence. The last 3 seasons are enough of a testament for that. Next year will be the watermark, not this one. You know what to do, Arizona. Jesus Christ. To think that we thought the Rams had Super Bowl ambitions after last year's taste of it. Little did we all know that the cruelty of reality would come knocking on their door. The moves made to allegedly secure their future ended up backfiring for the most part. They got so desperate to keep the window open that they threw everything for a name-brand cornerback that did next to nothing in Jalen Ramsey. Sucks that Marcus Peters returned to form away from LA, right? The issue for them isn't this faux pas, it's in the future. They've invested most of their cap into an inconsistent wide receiver, a running back with a degenerative knee, and the second coming of Jim Everett. The worst part? With the futures they gave up for Ramsey, they pretty much have to pay him whatever he wants. There is no other option. I'd bury the Rams in their shiny new stadium that will be full of fair-weather fans, but LA has real sports icons to mourn. Kobe Bryant dead at 41. Good God, that's awful.
Please join us in a moment of silence in honor of number 24, Kobe Bryant.